Try touching anything in my fridge again and see what happens. Can your useless father even afford it? How does a mother give birth to two daughters, yet despise one because her father is poor and adore the other because her father is wealthy? Let me take you back to how it all began. Before we return to the beginning, please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Your support keeps me motivated. Precious was one of the most admired girls on campus. Her beauty wasn't loud or flashy. It was effortless, the kind that naturally drew attention. She carried herself with grace, spoke gently, dressed elegantly, and always smelled pleasant. Men were easily drawn to her, and she enjoyed the attention. But Precious didn't believe in love. To her, relationships were about comfort and financial gain. Once a man stopped meeting her expectations, she moved on without hesitation. Close to her university was a small provision shop owned by a man named Peter. He had been running the shop for years. Precious was a regular customer, often buying items and sometimes getting extras for free. Peter developed feelings for her. One day, he finally confessed, telling her he had admired her for a long time and wanted a relationship. Precious didn't give an immediate answer. She smiled and told him she would think about it. 2 days later, she returned and agreed, not out of love, but because she saw an advantage. Being with Peter meant access to free goods, financial help, and someone to solve her problems. Peter was overjoyed. He started doing even more for her, giving her money, supporting her needs, and never complaining. 2 months later, Precious got pregnant. Instead of joy, she felt anger. This wasn't part of her plan. She went straight to Peter and told him. While he was shocked, he quickly became happy and grateful. Precious, however, was irritated by his reaction. She told him she wanted to terminate the pregnancy. Peter pleaded with her. He promised to take full responsibility to provide for her and the baby and never abandon them. After days of persuasion, Precious reluctantly agreed to keep it. From that moment, her demands increased. She began taking items daily from Peter's shop without concern for cost. Her room was always stocked with food, drinks, and groceries, often more than she needed. She even shared excess items with friends, earning praise for her generosity, unaware that it was slowly spoiling Peter's business. Her lifestyle became extravagant. She spent more, went out often, and insisted on only expensive baby items. Meanwhile, Peter's shop began to suffer. Goods disappeared faster than income came in. He started borrowing money just to restock, growing exhausted but staying silent. Eventually, he gently suggested cutting down expenses to save the business. Precious exploded in anger. She reminded him she never wanted the pregnancy and threatened to remove it if he couldn't provide. Terrified, Peter apologized and promised to do better. Months later, Precious gave birth to a baby girl. She organized a lavish naming celebration funded by money Peter borrowed. Soon after, the shop completely collapsed. With no business left, Peter took on odd jobs, carrying loads, cleaning, doing anything to survive. But Precious was never satisfied. She complained constantly. blaming him for her situation. Eventually, she insisted on going out to work, forcing Peter to stay home with the baby. Afraid she might abandon the child, he agreed. Peter took on full responsibility, washing clothes, cooking, caring for the baby day and night, while enduring Precious's insults. Not long after, Precious began seeing a wealthy married man who spent money freely on her. She returned home late, dressed better, and smelled of expensive perfume. When Peter confronted her, she mocked him. She told him he had no right to question her and should focus only on raising his daughter. Soon, Precious became pregnant again, this time for the rich man. Her life changed completely. The man provided for her, rented a better apartment, and gave her everything she desired. Meanwhile, she neglected her first daughter completely. Peter remained the only one, caring for the child, feeding her, bathing her, and providing what little he could. Precious later gave birth to another girl, Tessie. A grand celebration followed, funded by the wealthy man. Years passed. Tina, Peter's daughter, lived a completely different life from her sister. She attended a government school, did all the housework, and endured constant insults. Tessie, on the other hand, enjoyed luxury, private school, new clothes, and a carefree lifestyle. Precious openly favored Tessie and treated Tina like a burden. Peter did his best to support Tina, even if it meant buying small things. Precious mocked him endlessly. At home, Tina wasn't even allowed to touch food without being insulted. Despite everything, she remained quiet. One day, she finally asked her mother, "Why do you hate me? Is it my fault my father is poor?" Precious dismissed her coldly. Years later, both girls went to university. Precious forced them to share a room so Tina could continue serving Tessie. Tina stayed focused on her studies, while Tessie lived recklessly, chasing a flashy lifestyle. In time, Tina graduated with top honors and secured a good job. With her first salary, she rented a small house for her father and helped him restart his provision business. Then she met Daniel, the son of her company's CEO. They fell in love quietly. Knowing her mother's nature, Tina asked Daniel to pretend to be poor when meeting her family. When Precious saw him, she mocked Tina again. The traditional wedding was simple, but soon after, everything changed. Tessie's father was arrested for fraud and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Their luxurious life disappeared overnight. When it was time for Tina's church wedding, it was grand and beautiful. Precious and Tessie were shocked to discover the truth. Tina had married into wealth. Overwhelmed, Precious apologized for everything. Tina forgave her, but made it clear things could never be the same. She chose to move abroad with her husband and father. Tessie also apologized and asked to stay with her, but Tina refused. She had endured enough. As she left, she carried no bitterness, but distance, because sometimes forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Moral lesson: life can change in instant. How you treat people today may determine who stands with you tomorrow.